This is Kaizoku Uncharted, where a couple of siblings tell the vastity of anime. If you think this is the crew for you, set sail with us each week. I'm Jakia.
And Justin. What we're going to discuss this week is going to be this Netflix Maboroshi. Is that how you want to pronounce it?
Yep, so Netflix film by MAPPA.
Original film by MAPPA.
Fine, I'm sorry. Original film by MAPPA. Maboroshi, also known as Alice to Teresa, no Maboroshi Kojo. It took me a while to find the show. I was like, this is a show? And it has a whole nother title.
I found it just on the Maboroshi.
Well, no, I'm talking about just like in the world. Like, I was like, what is this film? And Justin's like, hey, we should watch it. And I was like, trying to do research, but like, is this a movie? What is going on? But yeah, so we're gonna talk about it. So Maboroshi is, so here's like the rundown. Masamune, a 30-year middle school student, lives in a town where all the exits have been sealed off due to the sudden explosion at a steel mill, causing time to stand still. Residents are forbidden from making any changes and spend their suffocating days in the hopes of returning to normalcy someday. One day, Masamune's mysterious classmate, Mutsumi, guides him to the fifth furnace of the steel mill, where they encounter a girl who cannot speak and resembles a wild wolf. The meeting between the two girls and Masamune disrupts the balance of the world, and the unstoppable impulse of love from boys and girls tired of their daily lives begins to destroy the world. So, what are your thoughts about this film?
I didn't understand the title.
Okay. This is what I mean. Okay, so there were different alternative titles. I feel like if we had found the other title, which is The Illusion Factory of Alice and Teresa, I would have been like, okay, sure, something.
I mean, I guess that's one way to look at it. No, I mean, this is the title I got, Maboroshi, and as soon as it started, I was just waiting for them to tell us, like, it's one of these kids' names or something, you know? Like, why is it called this? And then I was like, okay, well, maybe it's the town. You know, but
it wasn't the town.
It wasn't the town either. So I was definitely confused about that. Right off the bat. But no, I mean, all in all, as an original film, I liked what I saw.
Really?
Yeah, it was like it was parts. Now, question, were you not impressed with the visuals?
No, I was fine with the visuals. It was definitely giving Mappa vibes. Because say what we want, even though they're terrible working conditions, they know how to look. It's proven just. They know how to animate a show and a movie. So no, that's not for me. I wasn't a fan of the film. I wasn't a fan of it. Like, I love a show where I'm like, or a movie where I'm like, oh, I need answers. And this was like, I need answers. And I even feel at the very end, did I truly get my answers? Yes.
Yeah.
I did. I got it. I got my answers, but I don't think I liked the way that they went about it. I feel like it went in a really roundabout way.
I was torn with the ending.
Really?
So, we'll get there.
I enjoyed the ending because I was like, just me, like, you know, skipping really quick. I was like, it was never about Masamune, but they set it up to be like it was about him, and it wasn't. It was never about him. And I was like, I like that because he was working my nerves.
I mean, I like the ending where it was the, I don't feel like that happens at all. It was the walk-off. You know, she kind of like came in the center of the screen. Yeah. Was like, this is where she experienced her first heartbreak. Yeah.
I did enjoy the ending.
And then she walked off the screen.
She did.
And then I was just like watching, and I was like, did my TV pause? No, you know, like, because I kept, but then I started seeing like the shadows of like time passing. Yeah. In you know, that fifth room, and I was just like, oh no, this is it. Yeah. You know. This is it. Yeah. So like, I liked that part. Yeah. But I didn't like the before that part.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't want. I guess I shouldn't just like. Should we jump?
No, just go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead and break us down. Break us down.
Well, I mean, as soon as the thing starts, you know, it seemed like this steel factory blows up, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, the factory!" And then
Yeah.
that's when they show all these kids again. I'm waiting for one of their names to be Maboroshi,
but
no. Then they all say, this is when me and my friends realized that this world isn't ours, and I was just like. It's like, oh my gosh. So, at that point, I mean, I'm just watching it. Kids up to antics.
I mean, look, my first thought for that scene, I was like, already, this kid is a problem. And then my next thought was like, yo, this steel factory is coming down. But then I was like, okay, the steel factory is the key to everything.
So Masamune is the problem child to you. Not that other boy.
No, the one that was like farting for no apparent reason.
Sure.
I was talking about him. Like, he's a problem.
Oh.
I'm not a fan of him. But
I don't have his name.
I don't even think we ever got one. I don't even know.
Fair.
I don't think we got one for him. We got one for the other kid.
Right.
That was
the dreamer.
Yeah, the dream. That was terrible.
Kind of laugh.
It was funny. Okay, maybe we're jumping to
we're coming down. Okay. But I mean, I guess I get like it wasn't like this whole movie. I was just like on the edge of my seat.
No,
also, I don't know. Like, I feel like I need to, or maybe we could put it in the description, kind of like, if you haven't watched Maboroshi, like, go watch it. Like, pause this, go watch it, and then come back. Like, disclaimer, spoilers, so eventually, we see school antics. I was wondering why these boys are just doing, like, I don't want to call them test of strength, but or test of feats. They were just doing things. And then, it wasn't until toward the end of the movie where they're like, we kept doing things that were supposed to hurt.
To make us feel alive.
Yeah, to feel something. And they aren't.
Right. And we didn't realize that, but that makes sense because they had to keep track of, like, their emotions and making sure that they weren't feeling things, which was interesting.
And then we meet this one girl who's just, I first thought she was a punk, skipping school.
Yeah.
And, they go ahead and we kind of meet her.
Yeah.
Very momentarily. And she's like, hey, you want to, what she says, you want to see something? Or you want to see something that makes you feel alive or something? Like that. And we meet this girl that's in captivity. She just...
in the fifth furnace. She's just there.
The fifth furnace. Like, I don't like that place. And, we started... I mean, like, it seemed like she didn't really have much of a language, a vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
And, we basically got, like, told, be here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Didn't even ask us. We're just assigned this new job and this responsibility of taking care of a person that she won't give us any information about.
But then we start getting information.
We do start.
Like, I said, it was like as he was keeping notes at the end of each day.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, he wrote down, I'm Masame and I have a license at age 14, and I was just like, oh wow, Masame has a license and he's only 14. So I thought that was very interesting, and he takes his grandpa to
the committee meeting.
Yeah, committee meetings, and there's an uncle that randomly shows up, and just random things that when they go to this committee meeting, this is when it starts turning kind of like it gets real. We start to understand that we're not aging, nothing's happening in this world. First of all, we start seeing cracks in the sky.
Yes, and it took me a while to realize they were wolves. I thought they were dragons the entire time.
it did not matter to me in the least.
It became important later.
It was smoke that was healing cracks. And I was just like, okay, so do they hurt the people? Because like when they all went outside, it was like a wind tunnel. I hit the 4 boys and nothing. So I was just like, okay, sure. But we meet, or I don't want to say meet because that would imply we, know the character. But we see a lady who is pregnant, and it was pregnant right before the incident.
Yeah.
And now she's pushing around a stroller because
she can't change.
The baby is still inside of her.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to already be due. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I was like, man, I feel bad for that lady. She's just like.
And then I was caught off guard with, first of all, this is not a full classroom.
No, it is not.
And we're starting to interact with each other. They pinpoint on a certain, let's say 8 kids.
Before you say that, I love the teacher though, because he was like, if you haven't turned in your assignment, do so now. And he was like, I'm talking about you, Masamune. So I was like,
yeah, he pointed them out.
He's the only one.
He didn't feel like he needed to do it. So we meet Sonobe. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I'm not trying to like push people towards someone. I kind of thought Sonobe was supposed to be paired up with the one kid who like you said, the troublemaker kid.
Yeah. I was caught off guard with Sonobe. I was caught off guard with the whole thing of like, cause Musumi was like, she was like, the girls do the same thing that you boys do, but it's like a little bit more pettier. Like she was stealing shoes, and she was like, Sonobe started it, but she would have never known. And I was like, why is she crying about her shoes and she stole other girls' shoes the other day? But yeah, I think it's important. I think it's important that she was the person, because they try to put together like a little love triangle, and that just pushed the story forward. Right.
Like we're out again, we're driving. So we're Sonobe is supposed to be dropping off homework.
Yeah.
To Mutsumi. And then I don't really remember why we were out there toward Mutsumi's residence. Granted, we don't know where she lives.
We don't.
But, Sonobe gives us the rundown, how Mutsumi's been kicked out of the house, essentially.
Which is a little crazy. I was like, why you put her business out there?
Came out of nowhere. Yeah.
Came out of nowhere.
Scornful, like, one up in her. And then, she was just like, Musumi walks up on us over here to like, maybe you should give her a ride, So like, I was like, makes sense. We're out here. So we like give her a ride home. And, little did we know, all the kids are like, talking it up, saying, doing kid shenanigans. Hey, you want to go to the tunnel? And they're like, if the adults find us, we could be in trouble. And Sonobe's the first one. She's like, I'll go. And then Mutsumi says, I'll go. And then the other 2 were like, well, so at night, all 8 of us,
they go.
I start going, and then I didn't know what was about to happen. I didn't know they were going to send us in pairs of 2. I just thought we were all going to just go in there.
No.
See who chicken out. It's not what happened at all. So then, we apparently went far enough, and then Sonobe starts to mark how far we went.
Yeah.
And essentially confesses her love to Masamune.
And he was like, what? And she was like, well, yeah, you gave me a ride home and everything.
He had valid points. He said, I don't know if that's how love works, He's like,
we in middle school.
Because she rode in the front seat, the passenger seat,
Like, it's a small car. I didn't think she had any options. Was she supposed to go in the trunk? I don't know. But then those others, Did someone? No. So they got startled and they heard a noise, and then the other kids had started entering the tunnel as a group. So I was like, why didn't we do this in the beginning?
I think something out there had spooked them or something.
And they came inside the tunnel, which didn't make any sense. And then that's when they noticed what she did, and they were like, oh my gosh, are you two together? And he was like, no. And then she got embarrassed, and like, you know, she had strong emotions and feelings. She ran out, and she started to have a crack. And the wolves came out, and they took her away.
See, I wasn't paying attention.
I thought it was a dragon. I had no idea. I was like, oh man. And then they called a town meeting to order, and we needed answers.
Yeah, because I was like, and again, like you said, like we still don't have enough answers here.
There's nothing but questions.
Because I said, why is Sonobe cracking? And then I said, the wind took her. You know, like, so no wolf, no dragon. I just said the wind took her.
Just took her. And then we meet the eccentric leader.
Mr. Sagami.
Yeah. He can get into the book.
I want him in the book.
I want him in the book.
Yeah,
like, he need to go in the book.
This dude is...
He's a whole thing. I'm not a fan of him. But he's basically letting people know, like, hey, we'll be fine. Just don't change. Like, we're being punished for what we've done, and so time has stopped in our town. And so people have started to buy into it, and that's when people start learning, and that's when the kids start to learn. I think that's when the kids were actually brought into the conversation about this is why it's important to like take note of your emotions and your daily things each day so you don't end up cracking. And so, yeah. But after that, that's when it kind of like goes downhill for me, like really fast. No, I'm just, in terms of like the story, just like how like it got to that point and they had some people were just like cool and then people were living with it for a while. But then people just got to the point like, what's the point?
Whoa. The meeting, or you're talking about, I thought... Because what you're explaining sounds like when he took that little ramp stage after Itsumi almost escaped. Because when they just came and reported everything, you know, to the adults, they were like, did she really? And then
that was crazy. And I was like, isn't it her parents talking about like, yeah, she know.
Well, they were just like, well, the wind came.
And they're like, and that's when he was like, was it a wolf or what was it? And I was like, see, it's important. And then the kids were like, actually, I don't know what it was. And then he was like, it sounds question. That's what I mean. That's when it starts getting downhill for me.
So then, I mean, it really shook up Masamune.
Well, yeah, he saw her be taken.
Well, so did all the other kids. They went to school. You know, he felt like he was the one at fault because he denied her the feelings.
He did in front of everybody.
And, you know, he's like, he doesn't want Itsumi to be locked up like that. So he tries to get her out of there. And then they start running off. And then Mutsumi show up and they trying to get out of there, and then Mr. Sagami's like, you know, bring her back. You know, this is why we're being punished. And it looked like she about to escape because all of a sudden the sky start cracking and she start climbing. And
yeah, because she's getting all excited. So that's when we learned that she's connected to like the state of the town. And so
I didn't know that still.
Oh, really? Okay, that's what I was taking out. So I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is what's happening. Because that's when we started, for me, they planted things like earlier on, like, oh, the stench in here is really like, smells in here, right? But then they tie that back into like later, I'm not going to jump. But I was like, it was just like those little things for me. I was like, oh, she's connected to this. And then he kind of confirms it, but not really. It was still weird. I was like, this is still kind of fuzzy about how they went about everything.
Right.
It was weird. And
then, because at first, I think I was like subconsciously leading to it, but then it closed up when she was like reaching for it. So I was just like, oh, it's nothing. And like, just like how Mr. Sagami like had a sign of relief, he was like, oh, thank gosh. And then that's when we all came out. People saw it to me, and that's when he kind of gave a speech where some people were like, well, if we're going to die or whatever, let's go have dinner. And some people were like, he had like a loyal 4. Like they were just all into what he was saying. And then that's when, what's the old boy name? That's when the dreamer started talking.
Yeah, he was like, because we found out earlier that he was like, yeah, that radio station works by nerds. But then he was like, I actually want to be a DJ. And he was like, what? And he was like, I have dreams. I wanna do things.
Yeah, so he used his platform. Like all those people were there. He was like, it's like, I'm tired of this. We ain't gonna ever grow up. You know, I got dreams. And man, this is not gonna be killing me because he got that microphone. He be clapping on it like, settle down. And then he was like, it's like, all right, we've heard enough of this boy's opinion. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's how you silence a crowd.
I know.
And then people started to disperse. And I was like, I guess they have had enough of his opinion. But,
yeah. That was too funny.
And then, like, as people just quote unquote accepted it, you start seeing some people didn't. Like, all of a sudden, and it just took a turn. Because all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God, it's an old man fishing. And, like, he just started cracking.
And then the wind came and took him.
And then there's a mom walking a child, and the child trying to reach for cats.
And the mom's like...
And the mom started cracking.
And she took. And the kid's like, where'd she go? She gone.
And then it was, that's his name, Simba.
The dreamer.
The dreamer. I was like, oh my God, it took him too. He was done.
No, but then the PE teacher was like, hey, go back to class.
He didn't want to spark a riot or spark
a chain reaction.
Right. It's like, don't look. You know, like we had like things come up. Like this crazy spew of events. Like I didn't realize she was connected to it until we finally had that scene.
Yeah.
Where Masamune and Mitsumi gets close.
Oh yeah, at the arcade.
At that 24 arcade. And then that's when I was like, okay. And then she's like, you know, the problem is she took that advice from that biscuit head girl who was talking about how love hurts.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was just like, how do you know? You ain't did nothing yet. You know, she ain't confessed or anything.
That's
true. Then that's when she was like, it hurts. You know, and that's when it started raining on top of them.
And then, like, it cracked, like, the sky cracked, but then, like, the side of the world cracked. And then we start to see, like, oh, this is an alternate reality moment. So that's when it kind of confirmed, like, wait, there are people who are living their lives outside of this. And that's when it got even more confused, like, kind of confusing, because then it happened all of a sudden. Mitsumi and Isumi, like, moved into Masumine's house with his family. And I was like, what? I was like, what's happening?
I mean, they were incredibly older. So maybe the parents have, like, the mom has passed away or something.
Well, no, I'm talking about, like, just, like, no, while they were kids still. Like, remember how they went, like, it was at nighttime. I guess, like, Itumi and Mutsumi were just staying the night or something because, like, Sagame's crazy.
Yeah, it was right after the speech, right.
Right, and so I was like, okay, and then that's when they saw, like, the alternate reality about them actually being together when they're older, but then Mutsumi was like, no.
Well, and the weirdest thing I got from that, it was almost like Mitsumi has already seen, like, and maybe because she's always been with Itsumi, maybe she saw cracks already happen. That's when she was like, you know, she didn't want to form, you know, at the end of the movie, she was telling her, like, she didn't want to form a relationship with her, or she knew she would, like, begin to love. Mm-hmm. So she was, like, very distant. So she must have seen cracks somewhere, knowing that they would be together, because she wasn't fazed by it as much as he was.
Yeah, his whole world was shook. So, yeah, and then the movie picks up more pace from that moment. And and so we find out different things about how like the uncle we find out about the dad and what happened to the dad.
The father.
Yeah, so we had a father and I was just like, what? And then the uncle's actually in love with the mom. It was a whole thing.
The father was cracking.
And then we learned why the father didn't come back. But the father was the right-hand man of Sagami. It's just... This movie...
You make it sound like it was very chaotic.
It was chaotic. And I was like, who is this for? I mean, I love how all the kids had driver's license. Like, everybody had a car.
Most of them did.
Most of them did. Most of them had a car.
Didn't that one biscuit head girl, she reminded me of, her design was like the girl from Code Lyoko.
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's a good show.
Big forehead. All right. But yeah, I mean, another important note I took from this is I guess the grandpa used to be a conductor because he was on the train. He was ready. The whole time they was wondering who gonna drive this thing. And he already
put the hat on, had the uniform and everything.
And didn't drive far.
Did not get far. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like the film it got chaotic at the very end. We don't want to spoil it all the way, but
I was just wondering how, because the ending made it seem like it's like what you usually say. It's like everything's fine, you know, like she's fine. And I was just thinking, to myself, like how did this happen?
That's what I took away from all of this. I was like, Justin is hollering right now because I was like, this is what happens when little kids don't listen. I was like, her parents were like, she had a tantrum. Sure. She was like, buy me this stuff. They're like, no, like you said, this discipline. And then the parents were like, nope, we're going to keep going. They shouldn't have did that.
Well, I blame the parents on that too.
I do that too. But then, where did she go? And I was like, this is what happens when you're not listening. You end up getting on trains and being transported to another reality.
Yeah, I don't know how she ended up on that train.
No one knows. No one still knows this day.
If a crack somehow happened right where that stall is, that's one thing. You know, where that concession stand is.
Right.
That's how she here. But no, she was on a train.
They found her on the train, took her out of the train.
Her grandfather did.
Right.
And we find the backstory. He realized that's his granddaughter. He realized the only way, he was like in an ironic twist, you know, the only way he's able to meet her was because of this event.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as it's ended, I'm just thinking to myself, like, where's the connection? How did she be reunited with her parents? Like, that's where I had the questions. But clearly, they're fine because she was on the phone with them and
yeah, she fine.
She called an Uber.
She did. They gave her candy. But I mean, I will say I did enjoy the ending though because it still let people know that the people and the experiences that they had in that town did happen. Because the biggest thing for people just like, I don't even know if I'm real. I don't know if this is even happening, right? They're like, I don't even know what my body's doing from wherever I am. But then when you go back, you see, like, the drawings that they made together that was still there. And, like, the messages and stuff. So I was like, I actually like that. But my question is, does she actually still remember everything?
Sounds like if she went to that location when she would have no reason to. She was jumping around. Yeah. I had no reason to because she basically grown. Like, I don't know why jumping around.
Don't know why she's jumping around.
But that was the only thing that I was torn off about is she come off this train, out of this tunnel, she crying.
Yeah.
And how do you meet mom and dad? Like,
well, no, I think, like, the grandfather said it. Like, he said something about how, like, since Sagami was set on the fact of saying, like, hey, this is a holy mountain. We've been, like, extracting from this mountain. This is how we're being punished or whatever. And then the grandfather's like, I knew how she got here. She got into this reality from the train. Then her way to get out is from the train because that makes it a holy train or, like, a train that's able to go through. So That's how I saw it, but since she was already, since like the world was cracking already. Okay. Oh, was it? But since the world was like cracking already, that gave them the opportunity where like the world, like the barrier between the two were so thin. That's why she was able to get through. So that's how I took it. That's how I took it. So yeah, but all in all, like I thought it was a different movie. It was definitely different. It came out in September of last year, and yeah. So that's Maboroshi. Do you have any remaining thoughts?
It came out in September of last year?
Yeah, it came out in 2023. Yeah. I will say I'm disappointed that we don't know who like all the kids got matched up with. I don't know if they're supposed to be like their people, but yeah. Yeah. So that was Maboroshi. Any other?
No, I mean everything was like you said. Again, my confusion was I got everything about the train.
Okay.
Once she gets off the train, how the future mom and dad reunite with her. That was my concern. And then I liked the little scene between Itsumi and Musume when she was like, I'm gonna need his heart. You know, like I was like, okay, you go, girl. I was like,
she was like, this is what boundaries look like.
I was like, okay, I can dig it.
Yeah, that was messed up though. She was like, he's gonna be thinking of me, not you. And I was like, wow. But then I was like, what I expect? I was like, I don't know. I don't think she was the greatest. I don't think she was my favorite character. I don't think she was the greatest, but
I was okay with her.
She alright.
She was standoffish in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was it was what it was. So yeah, that's
Maboroshi.
I like it. All
right. Yeah, so you should all check out Maboroshi. Let us know what you think. Did you like the show? Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? Let us know. Leave us a comment.